Hey America, and France, and all the other countries. It's me, Gene. I'm here by myself. I just got done running, so sorry if this shows up on the screen. Um, I have my capitalist water right here, green tea flavor. I'm here to talk about socialism again. For those of you who haven't watched my other video, I'm also known as the BT Maniac, prefix, and on Xbox Live, informally known as suffix whenever I'm killed, but that doesn't happen a lot, so don't worry about it. I am here to address two separate things, so this might run over the 10-minute mark. Um, First of all, there's a guy named Tom Spug on a forum who is asserting that socialism is incompatible with liberty. It's only an aspect of fairness, and fairness and liberty are enemies, enemies at the gate. And then also, I had a wonderful Skype conversation with two anarcho-capitalists called Paul and Steve. They're good friends, and they currently reside in California. They were addressing my mutualist bent, and I really appreciated talking to them. Paul and I were planning on talking months ago, but some problems with my inability to figure out this damn machine. I have a Mac, and I love Macs, but sometimes I want to blow it up. Anyway, I'm going to address Tom's topic first. First of all, the notion that socialism is anti-liberty is very popular in the United States and in some parts, Europe. And I can see why. The Red Scare is a very big contributor, both of them. And also, we Americans don't like the idea of modeling ourselves around the Soviet Union. And we've all heard about Stalin, and we've all heard about Mao Zedong. And coincidentally, I just learned how to write Mao's name in Chinese class last week, so I'm very excited. I don't know why, but anyway, what Tom needs to realize, Tom, if you're watching this, is that most socialists, in fact, I would go 95%, don't want to model our, system around the Soviet Union. Even in the heyday, the Bolsheviks, most of the Bolsheviks were purged. Why? Because they had different views of what socialism was. And even if, Lenin is a very controversial figure in the left, probably splits it down 60-40 with 64 and 40 against, but if you look at even Lenin's writings, if you just take his writings and not what occurs, there is clearly a big wall of separation that exists between what the Soviet Union really was and what socialists were preaching. I mean, preaching, I hate that word, but when you look at Karl Marx, he referenced the Paris Commune as the bastion of the proletariat. And while he does make a lot of criticism of it, you can see what his ideas are, or ideas, if you're in Britain, are of socialism, and it's radically different than what developed in the 30s and the 40s and 50s, 60s, and inevitably crashed in Russia and East Europe. Socialism started out, primarily you can first see it in the Diggers and the Levelers, who were radically different than any other political organization at the time. They were responding to the revolution in Great Britain and the UK. Sorry. And what they wanted was a more egalitarian system, a more democratic system, one that would really not occur for another 150 years. It's amazing that people actually came up with this. And before then, in Germany, you had the movement during the peasant revolt, during the Protestant Revolution. Martin Luther, decried these individuals because he thought they were going too far, that they were, this was a Hobbesian period, so, or even pre-Hobbesian, I guess, but, and then if you want to go across the world, you have the Middle East, where you had similar ideas developing during the Islamic Golden Age, and in China, I would say during the Song Dynasty, you had a very underground but developing locomotive move towards what we would think of as a welfare state today. And some people even say that if you look at the Byzantine Empire, you could see something like that. And so it's not like this is, Karl Marx created all of socialism, but, it got its founding in historical movements, and now we see that it's a powerful, influential ideology. And what occurred in the late 1700s was mostly in the French, in France, with Proudhon, was that socialism was gaining its feet, okay? Classical liberalism had developed. It was at its heyday. And then you saw a response to classical liberalism. It wasn't trying to defeat classical liberals. Adam Smith says a lot of things that I and Karl Marx agreed with. Karl Marx looked up to Adam Smith. It's one of his most influential, characters in history. And what Proudhon and later Karl Marx did was they said, okay, here is where the classical liberals are right, and here's where the classical liberals are wrong. And they pointed to the fact that equality of opportunity, yes, it's a wonderful idea. We should all have in a perfect world, there'd be a plane, and we'd all be on it, a field, and we'd all be on it, and that's where we start, and then we just move up depending on how good we are, and we'd all get the same education. Obviously, that's never going to occur, at least, in the reasonable future. But what we can do is we can see, okay, what social constructs, what oppressive social constructs exist, and how do we get rid of them, and how do we allow for more equality of opportunity? Because despite what some might say, socialists aren't for equality condition, not even communists. We're for, opportunity. We want opportunity, but we want it to be fair. And fair is a concept that both capitalists and socialists use. You want fairness. If I steal your corn dog, you're saying, hey, that's not fair. And you would say that's also intrusion on freedom because they're hand in hand. There is no conflict between, equality proper and liberty proper. So basically, as I was saying in my other video, sorry, it's running out. I'm going to continue this on. But what you have is liberty requires that the state either be destroyed or be made minimum. Well, the landlord, and this is going on with my conversation with Paul and Steve, but it's also addressing Tom, the landlord has a similar role to the state. As I say, there's two qualifiers to be a state, in my opinion, and most socialists' opinion. You have to claim ultimate sovereignty over a geographical area, and that's basically anyone who has property at all, possessions for socialists. And that, this computer, it's my possession, property, whatever word you want to use. But also, you need to if you're a state, you collect wealth from the labor of other individuals. Because as I pointed out, labor is the only individual source of wealth. There's land or space, however you want to pursue that topic. But labor is individual. And so it would be wrong, in the socialist viewpoint, for someone to make wealth from another person's individual. And of course, we get into the whole matter of subjectivity and subject value and labor value is false. Well, the truth of the matter is I prescribe to the fact that labor value and subject value are similar, and a lot of theorists have talked about this. The marginalist revolution, well, the first marginalists didn't see that big of a contradiction, and I'm going to have to continue this in the next video, so hold on with me.